And now we have Kaitlin back to talk to us about cacti.
Well, it's been a really great afternoon. Okay, let's see if it works now. Okay, it's been a great afternoon learning from all of you, and I'm really thrilled to present Cacti to you. This is actually the first time I'm pitching publicly and finally getting to reveal what we've been working on. So I'm pretty excited to be here this afternoon. We are on a mission to develop better therapies for trauma and chronic pain. The problem of pain is so big that the size is 1 in 4 people suffer from chronic pain. 1 in 5 people have a mental health condition. What's really interesting to me, though, is that 79% of pain patients have a mental health condition, and the reverse is also true. Of those who have a mental health condition, they also are suffering with chronic pain. And the treatment options, the current standard of care, is failing patients miserably. Now, no one likes to be a statistic, so I'm going to tell my own story. I am one of the millions of Americans suffering with chronic pain. My story started decades ago, and I did spend decades in debilitating chronic pain, unable to have the job outside the home I wanted, unable to take care of my children in the way that I wanted. I was dismissed and discounted by the medical community. The pain was in my head, supposedly. And I couldn't find relief. No pain medication was working. So my mental health declined in those years of just suffering terribly with pain. Until one surgeon finally saw the problem and was willing to operate on me. The day that I came out of surgery, I can only describe as the most euphoric experience of my life. When you go from constant debilitating pain to pain-free, happiest day of my life. That should be like your wedding day or your birth of your first child. But if you've been in constant pain, you'll know what I mean. I went on to become a competitive triathlete. To celebrate a year after my surgery, I placed 5th in the Boston Triathlon. And although my story is one of recovery, because pain and mental health are so connected in the brain, when I'm super stressed, the pain is right there with me, just like when the pain nerve was pinched in the first place. So what's going on there? Well, chronic pain involves parts of our brain where pain becomes suffering. It was really the work of Clifford Wolf and Harvard's neuroplasticity research group that first suggested that we may be treating chronic pain all wrong. You see, pain only becomes suffering when a part of the emotional brain called the ACC gets involved. And the result is a cycle of pain-related anxiety, fear, depression. That's an ongoing cycle, a loop called central sensitization. Now, I've heard some people describe central sensitization of pain like a false fire alarm, but I assure you, to the patient suffering, there is nothing false about it. It feels very real. The problem with current pain meds is that they don't address central sensitization of pain. They are a Band-Aid at best, dulling the pain, and they are addictive, lethal at worst. Exhibit A, the opioid crisis. So whether you're a stay-at-home mom or a veteran with PTSD or someone sitting for long hours in an office job with high levels of toxic stress, what happens for the patient is you're often treated separately for all these different conditions. You're giving an antidepressant, an anti-anxiolytic, a analgesic in one of these categories. I talked to a patient last weekend who said, I'm on 15 different prescriptions and I'm still not managing my pain. Now, you may be already asking, what is a pain patient doing building a pharmaceutical company? To the question earlier, to one of the previous companies, why you, why when, why now? Well, who is more motivated to solve the problem than the person impacted by the problem? So a little more of the backstory, though, on how Cacti began. The groundwork for this research really was in Clifford Wolf's lab over a decade ago. And I only came into the picture after my training in developmental psychology at Harvard. I began following the research of Guldolin's work on reopening critical learning periods, and I started asking the curious questions of the pain neurobiologist from Clifford's lab. Could we repair pain plasticity? Could we reopen a critical learning period in the brain and yes, address some of these core drivers of the pain? One of those pain neurobiologists happens to be my life partner, so it was a lot of ongoing conversations about this problem and whether we could design medicine that actually respected the psychology of pain. So our solution was born. It's a two-pronged approach that utilizes psychedelic-derived medicine to reset pain amplifiers, relieving chronic pain at its source. This is a more holistic approach to pain that doesn't ignore our psychology and how our psychology does influence how we experience and process pain. The first platform we have is engineered to address the emotional drivers of pain by repairing disordered brain circuits in the ACC that underlie conditions like fibromyalgia, CRPS, and low back pain. Our second platform addresses peripheral sensitization in conditions like osteoarthritis, cluster headache, to name a few, diabetic peripheral neuropathy. And we are doing this by delivering psychedelics directly to the damaged pain sensing neurons that make the condition so painful. This approach uses a known mechanism of action invented by our team in Clifford's lab, an approach that's already validated in clinical trials for other indications, but with astounding results. So our competitive advantage, enter AI, they say you have to have AI in every pitch. Well, this is the real deal. In addition to the AI expertise of my co-founder, Lee Barrett, who most recently directed a $24 million DARPA grant designing new pain drugs, we also have access to this cutting edge new tool that revolutionizes animal behavioral work to rapidly accelerate clinical candidate selection. Now, in this audience, some of you may be familiar that we use something called the head twitch response to screen psychedelics. That assay is very costly and it requires using magnets and ear tags and other shenanigans. This tool lets us do it in freely behaving mice, automatically scoring it with the AI. So we've identified other psychedelic behaviors such as hyperlicking that you're seeing there to further differentiate the effect between different types of psychedelics. Now, I can't show you everything that we're doing with this technology, which, by the way, I'm so excited that they're building out a vivarium space here at Aquilius because that's much, much needed for all startups. And I hope they'll have this black box technology here soon. So this is a pain model, and you can see which paw he is favoring. And if we can see it with the naked eye, imagine how well AI is scoring it. So here's our market, trying to fly through this. So we're essentially looking at an $80 billion total addressable market in the chronic pain space. We segment that down into $60 billion for some of our different chronic pain indications, and that can be addressed with one of our two approaches. I'm probably the proudest of this slide because we are a pre-seed. We're in the pre-seed phase, and this is all that we've accomplished after receiving our first check less than a year ago. So we have synthesized 9 novel chemical entities. We have began our in vitro characterization at Queen's University. We have done AI behavioral work at Salk Institute right here in San Diego. And now I have scientists here in San Diego that are anxious to build out cacti here in the next phase of things. So here is the incredible team behind this work. Looks like it might have gotten cut off in our, yeah, it's like half of the team. I couldn't have done all of this without this interdisciplinary, amazing multimodal team. I have to highlight Nick Andrews here because he's right here in San Diego leading the core at the Salk Institute. He's one of the world's leading animal behaviorists. So he's doing all of my screening work with this black box technology. My co-founder, Lee and David, a whole team of pain immunologists, pain pharmacologists, pain neurobiologists. We have a deeply expert team. So why invest in us? Well, we do have really strong IP, composition of matter IP, that's for new chemical entities, a team that's worked together for over a decade, is very cohesive, not to mention very tenacious. And we have multiple shots on goal that offers several different off-ramps to sell assets at different points in their development. So I'm looking for connections to investors today to close out our angel round of $500,000. Thank you.
Thank you, Caitlin. We'll open it up to the judges.
So in terms of the competitive advantage, you mentioned the black box technology you have access to, but you also so why is it that you have access to this black box technology and others don't?
That's a very good question. I should have highlighted that better. My co-founders are inventors in that technology, and that technology has been developed in Clifford Wolf's lab over the last decade, but now it is a commercially available product that CROs, vivariums could purchase. So that's why the Salk Institute has purchased a black box device. It's a competitive advantage for us because we're the only psychedelic company in the space using this technology, and it accelerates our lead candidate selection. But it is a product that, it's a business completely separate from ours that can sell to any pain company. So it's like first mover advantage for us.
Any other questions from the judges?
Hey, Kaitlin, can you expand on use of proceeds?
If I heard the question right, can I expand on use of proceeds? So if I finish out this angel round, is that what you're alluding to?
We have one of our questions here on our panel list.
Okay. Yeah. So we've designed out the next set of assays. We would really like to tease apart what is the anti-inflammatory effect in some of our NCEs and what's the analgesic effect. So yeah, it's around full proof of concept data to fully validate our IP. That's what this angel round will help us finish out. And then we'll move straight in from proof of concept. We'll be moving into, marching forward toward IND enabling package. We do have the HEAL initiative interested in what we're doing. DARPA is interested as well, because this is a first-in-class family of drugs to repair pain neurons instead of masking, killing, numbing them is a pretty exciting approach.
Richard, did you have a question?
I'm just trying to understand where you are today. So do you have lead candidates that you're doing preclinical tests, or you're still modifying your molecule? Or
yeah, very good question. We are in the preclinical stage. So we do not have our lead candidate selected yet. We do have some promising, promising candidates, but I've only synthesized 9 of the NCEs. And so we'd like to do a lot more testing, iteration on those. And then we haven't synthesized any from our central nosoplastogen program yet. And that's an entirely different mechanism of action, different target that I'm not ready to reveal yet today.
Okay, thank you so much. And our last presenter, a round of applause.